while I'm sitting there. Barbecue sauce on my titties.
Oh my gosh, guys. You guys are already chaotic, and we haven't even started. Would like to lick barbecue sauce off the... I'm going to... Okay, crybaby. We haven't started, guys. Come on. Alright, we're gonna start. I'm scared. Okay. How far are you willing to go to contain war in a glass dome? Do I just click? How many parents would you be willing to sacrifice? How many brothers would you kill? Would you grow numb to the pain and become a zealous leader willing to sacrifice anything for the greater good? Turn a blind eye to the orphans on the streets, ignore those disabled begging for coin? Steal, bribe, and extort for a chance at peace? How many decisions would leave you lying awake at night, counting the souls you sent to the slaughter? Can living in war for millennia truly be considered life? Fun. Okay, a loud whistle breaks the silence, rendering the carriage to a sudden stop. The tip of my quill shatters as it smashes into the paper before I can put down my next thought on the page. Already the art is really pretty. Identity control. The shout comes from the outside, and I put my notepad down, scoffing at the ruined nib. This was the third one today, and I'm tempted to throw my hands up in frustration and scream. I was selected to be the Arisian delegation's reporter for this year's Dread Festival. It should be considered a great honor to be able to report on your country's political victories, no matter how small. But you can't expect a caged bird to sing happily. I reach into my leather satchel to find my identification documents before stepping out of my petite carriage. Okay. Here are our first options, guys. So, I feel we've got pleased by the chance to stretch my legs, annoyed that I have to go through this, curious to finally get a peek at the outside, and then enthusiastic that we've likely almost reached our destination. Last one? Alright, Crybaby's saying to do the last one, so we'll say that we're enthusiastic. Just a few feet ahead, an elven woman is going through the papers of an older gentleman from our contingent? And what role do you fulfill within this delegation? Her voice is like the sharp-pointed end of an ancient spear. I am the senator representing the region of the Beastlands. The elf sniffs the air around the delegate and frowns. She's beautiful. Glimmering mercury eyes peek out from underneath short bangs the color of milky quartz. Her skin, like deep iron ore, glitters gently in the rays of daylight. After a very thorough read of the man's identification documents, she hands them back to him without a word. I find myself nervous that the elf's long knife-like ears twitch and her attention shifts to me. I'd never seen anything like it. Her cold gaze examines me from head to toe before she reaches a hand out. Identification documents. I hand them over, and she scans through them quickly. Ooh, I get to enter my name. Alright, we're gonna do Elytra. Oh my, Devo. Freaking Beastlands, Debbie Ryan. I swear. Alright, we're gonna do Elytra. Oh, this is cool! I get to choose my pronouns! Oh, I love this. Oh my gosh. I love this so much. This just got me really giddy and excited. Okay, I'm gonna do they, them. And what role do you fulfill within this delegation? I was selected by the Empire to take an account of the Dread Festival for an article. I'm here to report on the mutually beneficial relationships between our nations. I'll be writing a positive piece about Quilangular's leadership. I plan to record our general's involvement in foreign affairs for our newspapers. I want to go for the second option. I'm here to report on the mutually beneficial relationship between our nations. So, I think I'm going to go for that one. Yes? Okay. Her eyebrows raise slightly at my response. After a moment, she nods, accepting my explanation. And your general, where could I find him? The question perplexes me. Though the delegation had been traveling for several weeks, I hadn't encountered the infamous Shadow Master once. Had I? Upon seeing my bewildered expression, the elf offers a small explanation. He was not in his carriage. Perhaps because he got bored of being confined in a turbulent box for days? The voice responds before I can open my mouth to formulate an apology. I step back from the carriage and seek out its source. Oh, hello! Hi there! Upon the wooden roof of my small carriage relaxed one of the most beautiful gentlemen I had ever seen. I like you. With his eyes closed, his expression was so serene that I found myself wondering if I'd misheard him speaking. Shadowmaster, may day and night preserve you. The man on the roof of my carriage opened his eyes and leveled the woman with a cold gaze. Devil! Oh my god, they made him emo! I need an oh yeah sound. His eyes were the color of the flags of our empire. The color of blood and dangerous forbidden things.
So I'm
Ooh.
sitting there, barbecue sauce on my titties.
Guys! Not the barbecue sauce. I swear. Hold on, I gotta mess with the music. It's a little too loud. I could hear the elven woman swallow from beside me so vividly that I wondered if the world around us had fallen quiet on purpose. May I please see your documents, General? A frown crossed his features before he quietly sat up, slid his feet over the edge of the carriage, and jumped down with the grace of a cat. I like you. Here. He pushed a stack of documents that was so thick into the hands of the elf that it made me gape. It might take you a few days. He smirked, and I wondered where on himself he kept a pocket large enough to hold all that paper. The elf blinked, scanned through the first few pages, then flipped through the next few with shaky hands, her face growing paler by the second. I'm gonna keep watching him. Watch him? Okay. The political leader of our delegation crosses his arms behind his back, his expression neutral as he scans the surrounding environment. I feel my breath hitch as his gaze passes over me for a split second. The elf suddenly thrusts the pages back at the general and gives him a shaky nod and thank you before wobbling off to the next carriage. Was that necessary? The man Satoria's crimson gaze turns to me. She asked for my papers. He shrugged. Wasn't my fault that she wasn't ready for what was on them. Somehow, this behavior does little to surprise me. I'm gonna say the first one. You gotta let me in that call right now? Oh my god, you guys are going feral. When did I get rid of the white hair? I still have the white hair. It's just the shading for my VTuber goes with the game. Oh my gosh. Oh, Cell. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I'm idiot? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna say the first option. And why would I do that? His eyebrows rose in challenge, and I found myself searching for a response to give him. Because you're the Shadow Master. You think the ever-powerful elven aspects don't know which general's being sent into their city as a peace tribute every year? I blink at his response. That's fair. An uncomfortable silence falls over us, and I notice the way his gaze wanders down below my waist, scrutinizing me. A frown crosses his lips. Why are you looking what? Hello? I follow his eyes and... Fuck. The inkwell I had left on the seat beside me must have spilled when the carriage came to a sudden halt. He is staring pointedly at a large black stain on the side of my pants. I hope you're not planning on wearing that to the welcome dinner. The fact that he was staring... Oh my god, you guys are going so feral. Of course not. I highly suggest not embarrassing yourself or the Empire by doing so. Everything about this man was irritating. I won't. The look he gave me was one of complete apathy. I gripped my teeth. A loud, high-pitched whistle traveled from the gates ahead of us. Someone is giving us the all-clear. The clicking of metallic hinges echo in the air, and I take it as my sign to return to the peace of my small carriage. I hope you have a good day, General. There wasn't a single sincere word in that sentence. He raised a set of eyebrows as I stepped into my carriage. Already, I am liking how the characters interact and the personality. You can't expect us to not be feral while you're playing a game with hot, sexy men. That's like putting a faggot in front of a candy store and not expecting his mouth to water. Oh my gosh, guys. But I am really liking how the interactions with the characters are so far. I mean, we just met the Shadow Master, and I'm already like, ooh, I really like him. Making sure to avoid the spilled ink, I turned around and shut the door in his face. A childish reaction, but his expression was well worth it. With blood pounding in my ears, I found a clean place to sit before the carriage resumed its movement shortly after, entering Omnis, the city of Candlewax. The capital city of the elves. I find myself eagerly peeking out through the window, making a continuous effort to forget the fact that I may have just angered one of the most dangerous men on the eastern continent. My eyes wander between the many tall buildings made of marble, adorned with golden embellishment, before lingering on the rectangular houses with roofs, assembled from slabs of multicolored quartz. Saying it right now, he's a bottom, ain't no way. Who knows? They're illuminated by the withdrawing river of light, the path of the goddess of day. All structures bask in the warm rays, coloring in various shades of brilliant oranges and golds. It is a breathtaking view. We pass under a long archway of stone upon which I can hear the bubbling of running water. Dozens of half-burnt candles of sundry colors and sizes sit atop each visible surface. I'm gonna say this. I absolutely love how the description is in this game. Nice to meet you.
I'm Dave.
Because I'm really liking how they're going through, like, explaining the environment and how things are. Especially just from that sentence and, like, how things are, coming from someone who's a writer, like, I just love how the visual it is. Despite being able to see some of the things, they're still keeping those, like, intricate details needed to really visualize the place you're in. I find myself itching to see what these streets look like at night. My thoughts quickly bring me back to the journal in my lap. Quickly I fetch a new quill from my bag and note down my initial impressions. After several days of travel, our delegation has finally arrived at Omnis, the legendary elven capital. The gates were guarded strictly and our official documents and identities were checked for validity. There we go, that's how you say the word. This year, the Great Empire's leading envoy for the peace celebrations is the Shadow Master. I'm gonna say he sports a unique brand of charm. Oh my gosh, guys. I swear. That inspires the awe of everyone around him. Shadow Master is a Shadow Switch. A Nintendo Switch. Like a hurricane or some other horrible natural disaster. He has a way with words. I am blessed to be able to experience the elves' exhalation when around him. At least I'm not the only one terrified of this monster. We meander through the roads for another 20 minutes before the carriage comes to a final stop in front of the only building that looks terribly out of place. The tall rectangular pagoda that serves as the Ares Empire's embassy at Omnis. Oh, hello. As I disembark, I spot the general already disappearing past the red curtains. He doesn't spare me a glance. Oppressive prick. I'm given a small but pleasantly furnished room in the embassy and quickly ditch my pack in there before heading out in the city. Oh, that's cool. I need to find a tailor somehow. Okay, so I ask around, I follow a trail of the most expensive looking buildings, I tag after the most lavishly dressed elves on the main street, or I take a map of the city from the embassy to help orient me. If I could... Guys, I swear. Kind of want to see him in Lion... Oh my god. Nothing brings people together like titties. Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to say... Take a map of the city. So I think we're gonna go with... Map of the city. I love your character. Thank you. I appreciate it. How are you doing today? The map itself isn't as detailed as I'd like, but I can make out the names of the districts of Omnis, as well as a couple of points of interest. I decided to take a look around the Enclave of the Gods, the area of the Earth Elves first, since I'd read so much about how lavishly they'd lived. It takes me about 15 minutes of walking and skulking around weird alleyways before I spot a cylindrical structure of rose marble. 2 golden curtains embroidered with large designs of a spool with pink string hung from around its wide-open double doors. Dark letters spell out the words, "The Hour of the Golden Ones," right above the entrance of the building. The gentle strum of a mandolin came from inside, heart-wrenching, intense, soulful, and yet somehow welcoming. I step inside, yet find myself incapable of spotting a single worker. At least not until 3 shadows of varying sizes shift from behind a paravan of curtains. They speak in some language I do not recognize. I'm gonna say... wait patiently until I'm noticed. I personally don't like calling out and interrupting people. Get noticed? Okay. You guys want me to call out? Okay, I'll call out. Excuse me, I'm looking to buy. As I hoped, that made the moving shadows pause behind the paravan. The smallest silhouette, short and stubby, moved to face my direction, its voice high-pitched and snippy. Now is not a good time. I frowned, but I wasn't about to give up that easily. I need an outfit for a party tonight at the Arisian embassy, please. I kept my tone polite, but I knew an undertone of desperation had slipped in. I didn't want to see the general's smug expression directed at me tonight. A short silence followed, filled only by the gentle strum of the mandolin. We are very busy, and a predator... Whoa, hello. Hey! Chat. A predatory growl erupted from behind the caravan. Crybaby, I think it is who it is. Help them. The command rolled through the chamber with a low rumble. I felt myself tense as the tallest figure turned to face me from behind the curtain. Ooh. The growl grew louder. As you wish. I think it's Natura. I think that's how you say it, but I don't know. The tone was reverent, obedient. Language now fully switched to common. The caravan of curtains rustled as a short elf that looked to be within the late years of his lifespan stepped out to help me. Right this way. I was quickly led behind another caravan. I am Cupio, one of the designers of the Hour of the Golden Ones, and our extra hand to look your best today. Will you be needing help undressing? The question caught me off guard. I refused politely. Thank you for the offer, but I am accustomed to dressing myself. Cupio nods, surprisingly accepting of my choice. I beg... Oh, wait. It might be our mans. No, only your mans can see this. Very well, then. I will see what we have that will fit your body while you disrobe. Drape yourself in the plush blanket on the Davenport if you're feeling bare. And do not be concerned, we change them after each client that refuses to take it home with them. Before I could process his words, the elf had made his way outside of my changing area. It didn't take long before several beautiful outfits were brought to me. Cupio made it his mission to look everywhere but at my body as he delivered them and exited. His regard for my wishes put me at ease as I tried on the outfits one by one. Do any of these suit your fancy? Let's see, a racy blue and white draped dress with a beautiful belt made of pearls, a conservative black cotton toga that sticks to my curves and muscles, a leather two-piece, a blouse with matching pants accented with golden bracers and rings, a ceremonial red and white robe of silk with a black embroidered sash. Ooh.
ZZZZ.
Oh, this is hard. What are we feeling, chat? Okay, so Devo says 3 or 4. Crybaby says 1 or 2. Who else in chat? What are we thinking? Because I can't decide. One for elegance and 2 for the body. Listen, we have to look T to get titties. Oh my god. Okay. I kind of... See, I was stuck between the leather or the black cotton toga. This is like a big, huge, like, gala thing with a general. 3 because I want to be different. Okay, well, we've got 2 votes for 3. And only 1 for... Because I kind of want to do 3, just because it's leather. Okay, we're gonna go with 3. After I put the jewelry on and look into the mirror, I hardly recognize myself. The leather is tight, but the seams are flawless, allowing for freedom of movement. The gold accessories balance out the neutral ensemble, giving the illusion that this is worn by someone powerful. A great choice. The tailor appraises the way the item of clothing sits upon my frame. Is this the outfit to your liking? You're naughty, Elle. Oh, shut up! Yes. Lovely. Now please follow me to the lockbox. I gotta adjust. I nod and exit through the heavy curtains to join the small elf at the pay desk, not expecting the looming figure that pushed past the caravan across from mine. Oh, hello, sailor! Hi! Hello, hi. Yippee! I find myself face to chest with a being unlike any I've ever seen before. A tall cross between man and monster with a powerful body and a rich skin tone. I love how it says face to chest. I am naturally short. So, I think going from what his actual height is, I think he's a total, like, 2 feet taller than me. I think he's a total, like, 2 feet taller than me. So... As I look up at him, his eyebrows jump in surprise before his lips twist in a tameless smile. Seems like I made the correct choice. Excuse me? Getting you dressed. His voice was like a low purr, and I find my cheeks heating as he made a show of admiring my outfit of choice. You're stunning. Listen here, buddy! He's, I think, 7'4". Devo, he's not 10 foot. He's like 7'4", I think. Thank you. A large tail swishes back and forth behind him as he tilts his head on one side. I want to say, do you make a habit of helping others out? Oh my god, you guys. Do you make a habit of helping others out? Unfortunately, I don't have the time of such noble work. Lately, the only people I happen to assist are my subordinates by doing the stacks of paperwork on my desk. They've had to change the damn thing 3 times this year already. Are you a public servant of some kind? Pretty much. His bold outfit choice had me assume he was a famed exotic dancer or performer. The thought made my mind travel in a direction that was anything but innocent, so I was almost glad when he changed the topic. Now, to do my job as public servant by covering your bill. Sir? Oh my god! Crybaby! I want to lick him. I mean, I don't blame you. Thank you, but that is unnecessary. I hurriedly stepped even closer to Cupio, who looked between me and the tall man, now behind me uncertainly. Do you always fight back this hard when somebody tries helping you out? I know I've given him a weird look when his smile widens, showing off a pair of sharp-top canines. Yes. An amused hum leaves his lips, and I find myself wondering what it is he gleaned from this curt line of questioning. This isn't a battle you need to fight. Your purchase is on me. Consider it a gift from the Terra of the Elves. I freeze in place as the tall creature crosses his arms in front of his chest, refusing to take no for an answer. His lion-like tail swishes back and forth as if taunting me to attempt to refuse his kindness. This man was the Terra, the demigod leader of the city of Fides and the chosen of the earth element. And he just paid for a ridiculously overpriced item of clothing. For me. Alright. The intensity of his gaze lessened before he nodded toward the clothing on my body. Listen, dude! You're too hot! Okay, I'm dying, guys. He's really sweet. That's not how I expected the interaction to go. And I'm not unhappy about it. I'm very pleased. Teamwork is the dream work. Guys! Pretty things suit pretty people. Oh my god, I'm gonna like do the Debbie Ryan and tuck the hair behind my ear. Consider it a party favor. You are a guest at the Dread Festival, right? I nod, and he gives me a brilliant grin. Oh my, his smile's so cute! Then please make yourself at home in our city. The words, "a million people would kill for this chance," echo in my mind, and I find myself smiling back at the demigod. Thank you. It is my duty, and incidentally, my pleasure. I find my cheeks heating a bit at his tone. I should be on my way. Of course, I'll be seeing you tonight then. I pick up my old clothes and my pack before bidding Cupio and Terra the most dignified goodbye I could muster. Guys, this is just the demo! I'm dying! Damn, you're so smart, Crabby. I feel like an idiot. Listen, man, I'm a brat, okay? I'm a freak, I know the ways. Now, what did the way back to the embassy look like? I start retracing my steps, but quickly find myself unable to deny the itch to put words on paper over my recent encounter. Compared to the capital of the Ares Empire, the elven city of Omnis is beautiful but chaotic. The architecture I see as I walk the streets is awe-inspiring, but the structure of the city itself is incomprehensible. I wonder what the spatial architects were thinking when they planned this place. The urban design is amateurish when compared to the organized construction of our capital city. My thoughts then wander to the Terra of the Elves, to his warm smiles and his overly accommodating sentiments. Nobody had ever covered a bill for me before purely out of kindness. I can't help but wonder what the price I'd have to pay for it in return would be. I frown and structure my thoughts on the demigod of Earth. My first impression of the Terra of Elves is that he seems to live in his own world. I've never once spotted any of our 9 generals out shopping for clothes mere hours before an event as important as the Dread Festival. Then again, if the Terra is as rich as the legend says he is, I shouldn't be surprised that he throws money around at pompous stores with ridiculously inflated price tags. I feel my chest grow heavy with guilt of the words I put down. We've been taught to always show the strength of our empire, throwing mud at the reputations of others in order to do so. However, it has never been my favorite thing to do. I exhale and look from my page and quill, needing distraction from my treacherous thoughts. See, that's not the route that I thought that line was gonna go. So... oh my gosh, guys. It comes quickly, as I do not recognize the street I'm walking on. Multitasking is not always as easy as it seems. The marble and quartz are lost, instead replaced by simple one-floor stone buildings, decorated with all kinds of dried plants, bones, and black velvet curtains. The streets seem deserted. The air feels oppressive. Unlike the other parts of town, soft lavender and green candles lay lit around the street, as though there is a heavy darkness here that dims all other colors and needs to be warded off. Silence stretches over me in a way that has me glancing back at my shadow. Ugh. Oh, shiver. I don't know why, but this place reminds me of some of the worst moments in my life. Oh. Ooh, I want to come up with backstory. I must say, a near-death experience I suffered through. I don't like the whispering in my ear. It's giving me chills. Can you guys hear that? Do you guys hear, like, the whispering that I'm getting in my ears? Yeah. An unforeseen medical condition that I had a chance not to survive. Fortunately, I recovered, but I get a shiver every time I recall it and how close it brought me to brink. I recall the darkness as I passed out, the concerned faces around me. How weak and pathetic I felt during my recovery process. I take a deep breath and focus on the teachings of the Ares Empire, the way to fight back the demons that attempt to conquer you. I need to keep myself occupied and focus on the things at hand. I need to take everything step by step. I'm going to turn up the music just a little bit. Or we're going to keep it how it is. And we're going to music just a wee bit. I'm going to say look for someone to guide me back. While the street I'm currently on is empty, there surely must be someone I can ask for directions. Did the voices need a breath mint? Yeah. I walk around for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, taking lefts and rights, making my way through neighborhoods that look lived in, yet don't spot a single person. Haven't I already been on the street? I feel as though I'm being watched. I found myself constantly glancing around at the vacant windows and empty street corners. A cold chill climbs up my back as I reach a few doors without windows or candles. Was this elven magic, or all just in my head? Was someone playing tricks on me? When I stop to readjust my pack, I feel something wet hit my forehead. The darkening skies up above surprise me, and I have barely a moment to blink before I'm caught in a downpour. The rain is so heavy and cold that if I don't hide somewhere quick, I'm sure I'll be sick during tonight's banquet. Okay, real quick. I know I just turned the music up, but I don't know how YouTube's gonna be with the music. So I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit more. Shit. At this rate, my notes will be ruined. I break into a run looking for shelter from the downpour. The only place I manage to find on such short notice is underneath a small staircase. I'm forced to squeeze in underneath, pulling my feet into my chest. I hate the rain. I'd always found it depressing, preferring baking in the sunlight for hours instead. With a downpour like this, it seemed as if the sky itself was crying. For the first time in my life, I found the sky's unruliness almost unfair. By force of habit, I find myself closing my eyes and listening to the sound of raindrops as they hit the cement. I breathe in the petrichor? I don't know how to say that, and allow its familiar smell to calm me. Despite my feelings, I find my earlier unease evaporating, melting away with the minutes. Woof! Doggy? Is there a dog? I'm gonna get so excited if there's actually a dog. Aww! I open my eyes to the sound of a bark and find a small puppy tilting its head at me. When I blink again, however, I find that I must have imagined it. Hello! Hey! Hi! Hello. Hi, Morse. I know who this guy is. I drew him. What stands before me instead is a tall man dressed from head to toe in black. Hello, sailor! His forearms, hello. His 4 eyes are a startling green, greener than the purest jadeite. Somehow, he sticks out from within the gloom of the surrounding environment, perhaps because of the lit white candle that gleams in the lantern he holds up towards me. He surveys me silently, unbothered by the rain falling from the sky. His gaze lingers a beat too long on my ears. A sound like an exasperated scoff escapes him before he moves his cape to one side. It takes me a moment to realize he is offering to share. Come on. I'm not sure how I managed to hear a voice so gentle above the downpour. Let's get you out of this rain. I should refuse. Something about strangers and danger. However, this man and his calm, gentle presence reassured me of my safety in a way no one else ever had. Perhaps it was magic? And did it truly matter if I was bespelled, if I managed to get to the banquet in time? With a nod, I moved quickly from beneath the cold stairs to under the unfamiliar man's cape. I am pleased to find that this is much warmer and larger than it looks. I assume you're an ambassador of the Ares Empire. I am surprised I can hear him. Something of the sort. His gaze lingers on me for a moment too long, though he says nothing. He reaches his lantern forward, and I gather that we should move. He could share his clothes to the floor. Oh my god, crybaby! The streets are accumulating water at such a pace that the sewage system does not seem capable of handling it. At first, I do my best to avoid the gathering puddles and streams of water carrying away dust and grime. Though the task is difficult and my feet should be soaked through the shoes and socks, I'm surprised to find that I don't walk into the puddles. I walk over them. As though an invisible barrier has been created between myself and the cold water accumulating on the streets. When I glance back at the man leading me, I notice the way the rain bounces away from him. Should we ask him how he's keeping us dry, or should we remain quiet? Use the titties as an umbrella? Oh my god, guys. Ask. Okay. Crybaby, you agree? Shush? Oh, okay, remain quiet. I've never encountered someone with such countenance before. Somehow he manages to both blend in with the current gloom and stand out from it. He tilts his head toward the sky as if attempting to gauge if it will cease raining soon, then sighs. I apologize. Once again, it takes me a moment to catch his voice. I found how easy it is to miss alarming. Are you apologizing for the rain?
Welcome,
Hi, Cypher.
Sins.
I'm gonna say, are you apologizing for the rain? Are you apologizing for the rain? Yes, it appears Aqua chose the opportune time to throw a tantrum. I feel the cogs clicking away in my head. And does it rain just in Omnis, or all around Quilon and Galar, when he's in a bad mood? That's entirely up to him. Do all elven aspects have the ability to affect the weather? I can feel his gaze resting on me for a brief period. No. Oh. At least not without the help of spell candles. I raise an eyebrow at the man as he guides us into a turn that leads us out of the basic rocky building district. I take apologies in different forms. Crybaby. Cypher, I'm at work, I'm dying. Oh, I'm sorry. What are spell candles? A few seconds pass by without an answer, and I wonder if the cloak almost seems to grow heavier around me. A way to preserve pure elemental magic. And the magic is released when the candle is burned? Correct. Is that why candles are strewn about this entire city? Oh, he's smiling. Guys, chat, he's smiling. You see that little twitch? He's grinning at me. I made him smile. I love him. I already love him. Okay, I spot the smallest of twitches at the corner of his mouth. Aren't you quite astute, student? I find myself smiling back at him. Arcane light them whenever they require magic they do not naturally possess. The red candles to light the fires at home and warm a room. The blue candles to summon and control water. The effect to which anyone can use these candles depends on their magical ability, of course, but I think you get the gist of it. The curve of his lips soften his features, and for a split second, I find myself staring longer than is appropriate. Okay. Should I say, can I also use magic then? Or how do the aspects impose control upon candles then? Because I'm thinking, can I also use magic then? Hi, Harvey.
Harvey_the__bunny.
First, magic. Okay. Can I also use magic then? Do you have an affinity for any element or deity? No. Then you likely can only benefit from enchanted items. Flying carpets, rings that part the sea, talking swords, the stuff of legends. He's teasing me. Very funny. Here we are. The male stopped suddenly and turned toward me, his tall frame towering over me as he lifted his lantern toward the entrance of the Eresian embassy. Loud percussion, the whistle of a flute, and a mandolin rang through the air, showing off that the festivities had begun. And I was late. I'm embarrassed to admit I was so focused on the intriguing man before me to notice we'd arrived. Thank you. No thank you is necessary, be assured. He motioned for me to go ahead with his free hand, so I just nodded, turned on my heel, and walked into the embassy in a hurry. The music was much louder inside, accompanied by the smells of various sizzling meats and the bright light of hanging chandeliers. Water, earth, and death elves moved around in wild circular dances, dressed in such finery that I found myself thankful that the Terra had interfered on the behalf of the store earlier. Though I spot him in the room, I find that he's engaged in conversation with some senators from our empire, full goblet in hand. A few paces away from him, my eyes meet the infamous crimson hues of the general, who seems to have stopped whatever he was doing to size up my outfit. Irritation bubbles up in my throat, and I find myself quickly pivoting toward the drinks table. Yeah, you can play him whenever, you want to. Just don't spam audios.
What the dog doing?
What the dog doing? A large wine fountain adorned with lit silver candles quickly catches my eye, and a polite elf pours me a goblet upon noticing my approach. A wine fountain? That sounds cool. I take the cup with a smile, but am momentarily distracted from drinking. I hear a series of loud gasps echoed from somewhere before a slick, tangible voice cuts through the music like a hot knife through butter. I told the pirate lord that if he's not willing to go to war for my love, he doesn't deserve me. And then I sank his ship to the bottom of the bay. A series of excited whispers and murmurs follow the ridiculous explanation, carrying the electric atmosphere that supports all forms of gossip mongering. Momentarily distracted, I can't help but search for whoever is the source of this ambience. I feel like it's the blue guy. Is it the blue guy? Frankly, even if my sister and brothers were on the marriage market, I doubt they'd be able to impress. Then again, feel free to bring it up with stepmother dearest. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to finally get a morsel of attention. That's just how I imagine how he sounds. My feet move automatically, as if charmed by scandal carried within every sentence of whoever is speaking. I find I am led into a section of the embassy floor, transformed into a lounge by large chases, silk curtains, and burning incense. Many gorgeous elves are piled on top of comfortable pillows, lazing around in eye-catching outfits, yet when my eyes land on the male sprawled in the dead center of this crowd, I find myself suddenly flustered. Oh, hello! See, I read it correctly. He is fruity. Look at him. Look at him.
So I'm sitting there.
Barbecue sauce on my titties. He is very beautiful. Oh my gosh. Chat. Oh my gosh, look at this man. He's pretty, but not my man. Crybaby, I will fight you. Everything about this man makes me want to do double and triple takes. The long hair glistening in the candlelight as if wet, the bright pink makeup, the outfit that I'm sure would look unseemly on anyone else in such a formal environment. Whoever he is, he commands the space behind these curtains as though he owns it, and he might as well, considering the way the hungry gazes of his entourage follow each breath he takes. No, sweetheart, no matter how much money your father offers her family as a dowry, trust me, she won't marry you. He sounds so utterly bored with the topic that I almost believe that he isn't reveling in the attention he's receiving. His large smile says otherwise. Everyone knows that marrying for love is far superior to marrying for money. His gaze landed on me and his smile widened. Wouldn't you agree? The pull of attention was dropped upon me so suddenly that I found myself desperate to get rid of it. I want to say marriage for love is better. For love? Okay, I'm going for love. See, my darling, there's no market value one can name when it comes to the hand of another in eternal matrimony. That is, if love truly grips them both. A breathy chuckle escapes the beautiful man before me, his gaze still on me with such intensity that I actively have to remind myself...
You violated the law!
Stop! That I actively have to remind myself not to fidget. Did his eyes just gleam? It seems this foreigner is already more intelligent in matters of the heart than you are, Leopold. I feel myself wince as a fierce glare is directed my way by the Leopold in question. Perhaps they're also interested in matters of the flesh as well. Ooh, hello! If I was walking when I'd heard that comment directed my way, I'd have tripped. How entirely inappropriate. His heterochromic eyes slide over my form. The retort I'd planned never leaves my mouth. You're just my type. Excuse me?
What the fuck?
His bold proclamation wipes the remark clean from memory, and I can only stare at him, completely dumbfounded. My cheeks flush as he spreads two fingers in front of his... I'm sorry? Hello? Hello? If you guys could see my face, it'd be really red. Feel free to stop by my room later. I highly doubt that would be Oop. Aqua of the Elves. My embarrassment is quickly swept under the rug, the attention of the room instead drawn to the general who'd moved in front of me. His demeanor remains as cold as always. Ah, the Shadow Master. The beautiful man before me finally moves to stand in front of us. I had an inkling that the male before me had to be influential, but had I just been propositioned by the aspect of water? My brain blanched as I pondered how to put that down in my journal. I've heard a lot about you. The Aqua did a quick circle around the general, eyeing him with unabashed curiosity. The man without a heart, was it? Care to dispel that rumor? Ignoring the bold flirtation of the demigod before him, the general's crimson eyes glanced in my direction briefly. I ask you to refrain from distracting our Balefire-mandated political journalists from doing their job. I find myself stiffening upon hearing the mention of the Ares Empire's grand capital. Aqua's attention slid over me again, lingering on the authorized notebook I was given to put my notes down. I make no promises. Sir? He's so pretty! Oh my god, not the clip. Black-haired guy reminds me of the guy... Keith? Well, I didn't mean to time it so well, but it's great that it happened. I know, right? You... It's a festival, General. Relax. He waved an amphibious hand dismissively. Does he have a tail? In fact... He raised his voice in a way that carried his words around the room. I propose a toast. Another goblet of wine is pushed into my hand by a servant so quickly that I suspect the Aqua of the Elves has a habit of making toasts. Though the room is buzzing with excitement, it is quiet enough to hear a pin drop. Beside me, I notice the General giving Aqua a withering glare. To the Ares Empire, who have stood behind us thousands of winters. He raised his silver goblet into the air. May our festival once again nourish the millennium-old alliance between our two nations so that... Sorry, I'm struggling to breathe. Woo! So that we may stand together against the coming horrors anew in 8 months. I blink as the word is echoed around the room and everyone erupts and cheers before drinking from their cups. These games, but I do like watching Elle play. Oh, thank you! I mean, unless it's a certain old guy with a twin and the twin. Oh my gosh, Harvey. I'm gonna say imitate drinking. It's a business thing. I wouldn't see my, like, it... I myself, I wouldn't be drinking if I was there for, like, a business thing. I press the goblet to my lips, but make no effort to part them. Whatever is in this wine, it smells like the sea. I pull the cup back to stare at its contents, noting that what was inside looked like a typical red wine. What sort of disaster took place to make such a lovely drink smell like seaweed? It seems I'm alone in my confusion, however. The festivities around me have resumed in full force with the swell of a flute leading most elves that were gathered around Aqua into an unfamiliar folk dance. They bounce around the room in couples, laughing and dragging the occasional senator into their steps. It's wild and lively, antithetical to the structured festivals we hold back at Balefire. It's an acquired taste. The wine, I mean, surf grape, they call it an amor. Oh my gosh, it's Tara! Hi, Tara. Long time no see, gorgeous. It's good to see you as well, Tara. Planning to take Aqua up on his offer? It takes me a second to clue into what he's asking. It seems word travels faster than wine at the Elven capital. I will be doing my job. Thought so. A part of me wanted to ask him what he meant, considering that smile, but I find my attention occupied by Aqua. He led a complex folk dance with easy confidence, his long hair swaying behind him, a mesmerizing head of the revelry. Our stoic general followed through the motions beside him, as though he'd done this many times before. He looks like he'd have more fun cleaning bird shit. That's hilarious. I know I turned down the music, but can you guys, like, hear any of the music? I know he did call us gorgeous. Yeah, you can hear it a little bit? Okay. Guess Aqua likes when we see him from the back. Oh my god! Devo! Cypher, I had to turn down the music. It was pretty loud, but I plan on posting this on YouTube, so I don't know if YouTube's going to copyright the music. Blue Boy looks beautiful and stunning. Yeah, Aqua's beautiful. I stifle a laugh behind a hand and glance up at the shrugging demigod. Am I wrong, though? I'm going to agree with him. It's funny. I can't help the smile that cracks my well-structured mask of professionalism. I don't have to do anything more to earn myself a pleased expression from the elven demigod. I can turn it up just a little bit. He's a demigod? Crybaby, did you not see that part? Cypher, I want to have a girls' night with Aqua and Gossip. No, literally. Oh my gosh. His gaze shifts behind me, and I follow it to a lone figure leaning against the wall beside the embassy's entrance. My guide... He has... Hello? He has ears? Oh my god, I love him even more now. My guide from earlier with his hood down, I'm startled to see a pair of long lupine ears shifting on top of his head. Mors Mortis, the aspect of death, the last demigod of the waking elves. He's watching the dance unfolding around the embassy floor, but seems to be restraining himself from joining it. Terra nudges me with his elbow. You can invite him to dance, you know. I'm startled by the suggestion. You know the steps, don't you? I nod slowly. I wouldn't be allowed on this job if I didn't. Well, what are you waiting for? I blink at Terra's words, suddenly feeling encouraged to try something new. This could be a great feature to put in the journalistic piece after I get home. Look, I love you guys. I want to dance with Moors. I'm dancing with Moors. He looks so cute, like he really wants to dance, and I just, like, I don't want him to just be there by himself. So, I think I'm gonna dance with Moors. So, I'm gonna dance with him. My eyes shift back to the demigod of death, who stands near the front entrance of the embassy hall, cup of wine in hand. He strays from the rest, enjoying his bubble of serene solitude as he instead observes the descending chaos, content to be exempt from it. Emboldened by the Terra's words, I politely excuse myself from my time with the leader of the elven faith and move to join Mors Mortis in his reclusive corner. His gaze shifts to me briefly, noting my approach before returning to the wild dances happening around us. Shouting, hopping, twirling, jumping, kissing, touching, drinking. The Aqua has grabbed our general, leading him through the complicated steps of a local dance that he's keeping up with perfectly. The visible vexation on his face, however, makes me consider the existence of karma. I can't help but smile as I reach the demigod of death and lean on the wall beside him. You're not joining them? His eyes flit to me and then back to the craze up ahead. Dancing is not something I've ever had much of a talent for. And yet you enjoy watching it? It is a verification of being alive, beautiful in its simplicity and simultaneously its complexity. I tilt my head and turn my attention fully to the scene before me as it unfolds. The Mors Mortis of the elves was the oldest of the elven aspect, a frightening monster with sharp teeth and claws capable of plucking a person's soul right from their chest. He was perhaps the most feared ally we had, a folktale the parents told their kids when they didn't want to go to bed. The sleepless woven demigod who ate the naughty children when they wandered into dark forests at night. These men and women, politicians, are like the stars. They burn beautifully when they're far away, interesting to observe but not to encounter. His plain observation surprises me, and though I lack the courage to verbally or visibly agree with him in a room where doing either would be treason, I feel that my silence tells him enough. I like him a lot. Oh my gosh, no, because Devo said your MC had a near-death experience, like a dance with death. Oh my god, that fits it so well. I love it. The beat of the music continues, and the cello swells with emotion as I watch the Terra join into the dance, leading a long-winding column of his own with a smile on his face. He is like the sun, a stark contrast to the schooled displeasure of our general and the mischievous expression of the Aqua. What about you? Why aren't you joining them? I'm gonna be honest and say I wanted to dance with him. So, actually, I wanted to dance with you. Actually, I came over here because I wanted to dance with you. I know you said you prefer watching, but would you like to join me for a song nonetheless? The aspect of death stills, and I find myself wondering if the undead demigod had to breathe in order to live. The eyes on his cheekbones dart to me, as if taking me in properly for the first time. There is suspicion in there that I'm not used to receiving. The dance floor is a cacophony of egos and personalities right now, a meat grinder that I have no interest in entering. I school my features into neutrality as he lifts a hand to rub the space between his eyes. Oh, hi, Shooty!
OOT raided you.
Thanks for the raid!
Welcome show OOT.
How you doing, Shooty? Good, I'm glad you're doing great. I'm playing the demo to this lovely visual novel called Spell Candle. I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually really enjoying this game. Also, at the top, everyone, I have a link to the Kickstarter for this game. If you guys want to show support to the creators of the game. I'm planning on posting this on my YouTube channel as well, so I'll have the link in the description, and then I'll also, I can post it in the Discord for you guys. Okay. As he lifts a hand to rub the space between his eyes. I see. I'm sorry for bothering you with my request, then. No, do not apologize. His tone grows hushed. I barely catch his next words over the music. Though I rarely interact with mortals, I understand attempts at kindness. Dancing is an activity for the living, the dead are only supposed to marvel from the sidelines. But weird rules. I know better than to question customs I do not understand, though. A sudden surge of the beat turned my eyes to the center of the embassy's main hall, where the aspects of earth and water had clashed, both vying for the center of the dance floor. The general, whose fingers were still intertwined with Aqua's, regarded the aspect of water as though he was seconds from killing him. The stomping of feet, clinking of cups, roaming of hands, the smell of expensive perfumes met with that of sizzling meats cooked traditionally as kebab. At the same time, it reminded me of home, while also letting me experience something entirely different and made me want to close my eyes, lean into the beat like everyone else. As the chaos of the festivities raged around me, I turned to once again face Mors Mortis. A question on my lips, I watched as his eyes widened and he pulled me to the side without warning as a stray glass of wine smashed into the wall where I just stood. Whoa, hello. Its owner, an earthen elf with a sandy skin tone, laughed drunkenly, perhaps after doing a few twirls too many with the current dancer. Her eyes, the color of bright amethyst, turned to me, and what I assumed was going to be an apology turned into wide eyes, quivering lips, and a deep bow. She said something in Elvish, then turned on her heels and ran out of the embassy's open doors into the night, leaving me dumbfounded. At least she was considerate enough not to disturb the rest of the guests by screaming. She said she apologizes for the glass. I turned to Mors Mortis, whose nonchalant tone was betrayed by the scowl on his lips. Thank you. It is of no consequence. A series of merry cheers erupt from the center of the hall, the long song having come to an end, but I find myself uninterested in the winner of its superstitious competition. I really like Mors, guys! The man before me holds my gaze instead.
Did you know you can pet me? Check out the pet cafe.
I hate the fact that Dave said, "Did you know you can pet me?" and he, got all flustered. I'm fascinated by what someone so seemingly gentle had done in seconds to summon forth such primal fear from his subject. But if Mors Mortis senses the millions of questions on my tongue, he ignores them, instead reaching toward me and tugging something out of my hair. His dark fingers pull away. I catch a sixth eye
That's the
tattooed
spot.
onto the back of his hand. A bit of glass got on you. He shows me a small shard between his fingers. Something that wouldn't have happened had our Balefire-mandated journalists had been doing their job recording the happenings rather than partaking in them. The general cuts in the conversation with a glare in my direction that gives me goosebumps. I believe you and I have different definitions.
No! God, please, no!
Yeah, don't interrupt us. I believe you and I have different definitions of the term partaking, General. Unlike me, Mors Mortis seems completely unaffected by the Shadow Master's presence. Your journalist was in fact doing their job very well. It is the fault of our people that they almost got injured. The General scoffed, his gaze shifting to me
Let's
again.
play. I'm ready.
His eyes tracking what I could only assume was the glass shards in my hair. Any journalist serious about their job would already be resting. The aspect of Death's gaze shifts to me, as if to gauge something, before he places a hand on his toned chest. His head dipped into a curt bow, a soft smile on his lips. Then may your rest be tranquil, and your spirit feel serene under Nosh's watching gaze, Elytra. Thank you, Natra. As he rises, I offer both men a small, bright smile. If you'll excuse me. The General gives me a curt, dismissive nod. Mors Mortis, on the other hand, seems to be looking past me. I take it as permission to leave. It is halfway out the room that I realize I'd never actually had the chance to tell the aspect of Death my name. I quickly reach my room. The inside is small but luxuriously furnished, showing off what I already knew, that the Ares Empire spared no expense for its diplomats. Okay, but the fact that he already knew my name and my backstory is the fact that I had a near-death experience. Come on, guys. I find myself glaring at the unnecessary mahogany desk, the silk robe hanging from my dresses, the comfortable bed warmed by the red candle lit beside it, the redundant opulence of an in-suite bathroom with the heated floors and the scented soaps. I sigh as I sink into my bed, journal in hand. Pushing my annoyance aside, my thoughts drift, taking me through the day. So far, I find Omnis to be... I'd say I find the place... I can't decide between charming or grandiose. Devil, he wants you, I'm calling it. I'm gonna say... grandiose? Okay, that's what I was thinking. Before I know it, I'm describing the giant marble pillars and colorful quartz rooftops of the city buildings. The perfectly coiffed shrubbery, the strong scent of roses, the gorgeous crawling plants that must have taken decades to reach the heights they currently hold. I smile as I recall the soft hanging silk curtains bathed in the golden light of dusk. Next, I find myself focusing on the welcome festivities I'd just been a part of. I'm gonna say... I'm kind of leaning towards the last one. They were quite a special experience. I mean, come on. I went and chatted with Death, in a sense, so... I'd say that one over everything. Yeah. The winters our eastern continent experiences are mere myths to the rest of the known world. They are harsh, filled with horrors of mind and body. We lose too many good people to these wars every year. And yet, within the Eurasian Embassy of Omnis, the evening before the Dread Festival, we are welcomed with open arms by our elven comrades in arms. We find hope in breaking bread and sharing wine. We smile, laugh, and choose to live on, persist despite the dominations in our recent memories. It was a heartwarming sight of an alliance forged over millennia of joint suffering. I find myself smiling when I think of Mors. I'm saying Mors. Look, listen, I love Terra. But the calm and wise Morris Mortis is the oldest waking elven aspect. As the demigod of death and the ruler of Spes, City of Hope, he is a walking oxymoron, both renowned and feared within his own kind's capital city. He is the monster our parents told us about when we were young, the big bad wolf that ate the naughty kids. He who never sleeps and can pluck souls from bodies with a simple touch. There is, however, a certain unexpected peace one can find when being near what they fear most. You can find out the boogeyman is just a man. Perhaps the weeks of travel were finally getting to me. I put away my journal and try to get some rest. To survive in the Ares Empire, you need to love it. Or you need to be very good at pretending to do so. The delegation was ready to depart to the Central Plaza at 7:30 a.m. sharp. Systemized like apothecary bottles, not a single soul dared to be late under the general scrutiny. As if yesterday's chaotic revelry was a dream we'd all conjured up in our sleep. But the outfit on my body was proof enough, considering I had nothing else decent to wear. The elven diplomats meant to escort us to the location of the Dread Festival's opening ceremony arrived exactly 7:35. The Shadow Master greeted them, and after finishing the steaming contents of his cup, bid they lead the way. I soon found myself uncertain as to why all this posturing was necessary. The Central Plaza of Omnis is exactly a 3-minute walk away from the embassy. Though we are early to the ceremony, the open space is packed with elves of various elemental inclinations and ages. Some enlarged stone coffins, held together with heavy locks and star-mail chains, lay arranged in a neat line in the heart of the square. Mars! Sorry. A giant cauldron of bubbling wax levitates peacefully above each one, and I quickly spot the 7 lit silver candles held together by Mors Mortis. Though Terra and Aqua are nowhere to be found, the aspect of death seems to be personally attending to the festival's preparation. He appears calm as he runs his fingers over the flames of the Oh.
Welcome Oki from Tex.
Hello. Hi, Oki. How you doing? Hi, those on TikTok. How you guys doing? Braziers heating the cauldrons, earning excited whispers from the gathered elves and senators. I find myself wondering if it hurts, or if he's touched fire so many times he's grown numb to it. For a second, his eyes meet mine across the field as our delegation steps forward to our designated area. I'm gonna smile at him. Oh, you're at work? I'm sorry. I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Thank you for all the likes, by the way. I appreciate it. So this game I'm playing is called Spell Candle. It is the... Yes, smile at him? Okay. It is the demo to a visual novel. And we've been playing for almost an hour and 30 minutes, and I'm in love with this man, so... He likes fire. Oh my god. Surprise skips over his features like a pebble before sinking underneath the perfectly constructed political smile he'd offer our delegation. Or so I expected. Instead, his expression remains the same as he offers us a cool, calculated bow. Welcome, esteemed General and delegates of the Ares Empire, to this year's Dread Festival opening. Thank you, Aspect of Death, for hosting us again this year. The Shadow Master returns the sentiment with a curt bow of his own. What a lukewarm exchange. I'm not certain exactly what has happened between these two, but I do not have any time to dwell on it, for Aqua and Terra's arrival breaks the tension and turns it into chaos. It is as if wherever those two appear, the location turns to a stage set for a spectacle. A stark contrast to the elves' indifference toward Mors Mortis and a quiet curiosity about the general. I find my gaze lingering on.
Nice to meet you.
I'm gonna say Mors, because I love him. He's so cute! The Aspect of Death stood motionless beside our delegation as he waited for his compatriots to join us. His side profile reminded me of a statue, his lithe form carved from decades of decision. Only his eyes gave away signs of life. His gaze shifted through the crowd, landing on his fellow aspects before he blinked, an action so natural it looked foreign on him, as though he did it for the benefit of the living around him. Esteemed guests of the Empire, allow us to once again welcome you to our lands as we commemorate the end of another winter. Terra moved to stand beside the now quiet Mors Mortis. There is no greater honor for us and our people to call you and yours by the term allies. For every time we've called, you have answered, and whenever you've been in need, we've delivered. It is through good that we stave off evil, through your gods and ours. Listening to the eloquence of the aspect of Earth, I am quickly reminded that as the leader of the Elven City of Faith, Terra also holds the title of head of all Elvic religions. Aqua speaks next, a hand on his heart. Our bond has lasted for millennia, a marriage against darkness. This commitment immortalized when we sealed away the 7 Scions will continue to hold again today. On this first dawn of the Dread Festival, we vow to once again keep them at bay. His voice pulls me toward him, like a sailor to a siren, but it is Mors Mortis' tone that brings me back, that makes me stop and listen. From flesh to wax, from wax to life. Every year, the eternal war takes from us those we hold dear, and with what is left of them we seal away chaos, anger, harm, loneliness, sorrow, hunger, and plague, and take a breath until next winter. For it is through faith that we hold the lines, through love that we stand united, and through hope that we keep fighting. Let those we love shield us once more from the dangers we've forgotten. Breathe in and take your time to pray. Terra's command echoes through the air, rendering the thousands of elves gathered on their knees. As per the ritual, our delegation is the first to walk up to the braziers of bubbling wax and silently thank those who gave their lives for ours. The general goes first, murmuring thank yous in both our languages and that of the elves. Though I can't see his face, I find his tone to be gentler than any I'd heard from him before. I go last from our delegation. Should I do thank you in both languages, or think about those I've lost? Oh, Harvey, that's cool that you made a shadow bracelet. Be gay in both languages. Okay, I've got a vote for both languages and a vote for think about those I've lost in the years of war. Okay, we've got 2 for both languages. So, I'm gonna go with both languages. As I reach the first cauldron, I thank the people and elves who gave their lives for our peace in both languages. Then I move on to the next cauldron and do the same, and the next, and the next, and the next. It's considered a great honor to be able to come this close to the dead again. Once our delegation has finished paying our respects, the elven aspects follow. The 3 move in perfect tandem, and by the time Mors Mortis has finished, the rest of the elven population at Omnis is already in silent tears. Poor. Mors Mortis orders after a moment of silence. The 7 cauldrons obey Mors Mortis' command, slowly moving to tip over. Wax begins hitting the coffins one by one, resealing them under the watchful eyes of the elven aspects, their people, and our delegation. Get down! What? The words shadow through the silence. I barely have time to process the familiar voice before the ground underneath my feet gives. For a second, I think I'm blind. The world has turned pitch black. I think I smell something burning. Then daylight breaks through, bringing back my sense of sight. My knees are bleeding. I blink as I try to get my bearings, but it's as though sound has ceased to function. I make out that some of the senators lay beside me, cowering. Oh, I'm sorry, Harvey. Yeah, I was gonna say stay low. Yeah. The general is kneeling beside me, a knife in his hand. His eyes wander around our delegation, coolly checking for everyone's presence and safety. At least until a shout cuts apart my uncertainty with a new horrifying discovery. The goddess of chaos has escaped. My eyes shoot in the direction of the pale marble coffin, the last one to be sealed, now empty. I hear murmurs and whispers from the gathered elven crowds. The words are undecipherable until the general's crimson gaze sweeps toward the onlookers with what can only be described as wild fury. They finally decided to conquer us too. Betrayers. Scoundrels. My blood chills as I realize that the only possible culprits could be those close enough to the cauldrons. The realization seems to dawn upon the aspects at the same time before all three of them turn to face us. The word "seize them" suddenly sounds like a phrase from a banned horror novel. The elven crowds are dispersed and told to return to their homes under curfew. Meanwhile, we are roughly pulled to a standing position in front of the aspects. While Terra and Aqua's expressions are unreadable, Mors Mortis looks dangerously calm. General, give us the one reason why we mustn't lynch your delegation and send you back to the Emperor to announce the dissolution of our alliance. You have no proof. I find this man's ability to remain an egotistical bastard, even when standing before three demigods, almost attractive. Almost. Did nobody else stand close enough to the braziers in order to tamper with them? The general falls silent, and I realize exactly what he's saying. I see Mors Mortis' expression turn murderous as he reaches the same conclusion. My thoughts suddenly dim as a primal existential fear of death sinks its claws into my back. How dare... Let's hold an investigation, then. Aqua's smile is nonchalant, but something in his tone gives me pause. Mors Mortis' eyes narrow on the demigod of water. Everyone present is a suspect. I don't know why the three unitary demigods suddenly look so divided. Terra, much to my surprise, is frowning, his tail flicking around, his arms crossed in front of his chest. Very well. Mors Mortis' four jade eyes wander between the members of our delegation and the surrounding guards before landing on the general. Name your investigator, Shadowmaster. You get one and only one. Elytra. What? I jump to my feet as all eyes turn to me. Ooh, I don't know what to say. Should I say I can't or I'll do it? 'Cause, like, I kinda can't. Okay, I've got one vote for I can't. Okay, 2 for I can't, 1 for do it. Okay, I'm gonna say I can't. Despite my protests, none of the aspects argue the choice. Aqua's smile widens and I find myself looking away, needing to escape all of this attention. The festival lasts 7 days. This is how long you have to get your truth. The unspoken "if you fail" remains a silent implication that hangs over my head like a guillotine for the next week. Day 1. Oh my gosh. I return to my room and find that my fingers are gripping my journal so hard that they're shaking. I have to get it together, desperately. I can sense how overwhelmed I am with fear. Had it been winter, I likely would have already turned into some mindless ghoul and fallen prey to the sword of a soldier. I take in a deep breath, then exhale. I repeat these simple motions several times until my brain has enough oxygen to function again as it should. Who do I investigate? Ooh. Who should I investigate, guys? I kind of... So, low-key, kind of want to investigate Aqua. I don't know why. I kind of want to investigate him. Oh, the general? You think the general? Okay, I've got 2 for the Shadow Master, 1 for Terra. Okay, going based off of what I have, we're gonna go the route of the Shadow Master. Oh, he appears to be busy. Who do I investigate? Okay. Then we'll do Terra, since he was the second option. I tap my pen against the desk as I try to structure a plan. I'm a political journalist, not a detective. I should be reporting on the strong relation between the Ares Empire and Quilon Galar. I should be watching the general gallivanting alongside the aspects, drinking wine, smiling politely, and just writing. Instead, I somehow find myself spearheading an investigation that could not only spark a war between 2 nations, but also result in the end of my life. I can feel the nerves in my stomach like worms, eating me from the inside out. I should have skipped breakfast, and at this rate, I might skip dinner. You alright? You look like you want to murder your journal. Which I do not recommend, by the way. It looks like a nice journal. I find myself torn from my thoughts by a voice I'm quickly growing acquainted with. Its owner leans against the open doorway, strong arms crossed in front of his chest. I knocked several times, but you didn't respond, so I let myself in. It took me a moment to realize that he was waiting for me to respond to his earlier inquiry. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really okay. He hums. His eyes studied me briefly. His gaze was piercing, as though he could see through every little lie. Please, feel free to take a seat. I motioned to the chair in front of my desk and watched Terra's gaze flick briefly to it before moving back to me with a raised eyebrow. I don't mean to be disrespectful to your embassy's choice of furniture in saying this, but if I were to put my full weight onto that seat, I fear it wouldn't hold another person ever again. And while I have no issue paying for those damages, I think I'd rather spare your ambassadors the embarrassment. A giggle escapes me as I process his words. Imagining the present ambassadors rushing over to apologize to the elves, Terra, for their inadequate seating arrangements sound like something of a local comedy skit. Alright then. On to the topic at hand. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? No, I was preoccupied. Any particular reason? He chuckles, and the sound unexpectedly takes a load off my shoulders. Some demigod enchantment, perhaps. I was releasing some pent-up energy. Through exercise? With Aqua. I'm sorry?! Sir! They did the do! Aqua's the blue guy! It takes great effort for me to keep my pen moving against the paper, but the writing turns into an unintelligible scrawl as his words sink in. His expression is proof enough that he isn't teasing me. His lips are set into a firm line, his muscular arms crossed in front of his chest. After a few moments, when I'm certain my voice and expression are schooled, I continue that line of questioning. So, Crybaby, I asked Terra if he noticed anything suspicious before the events, and he said that he was occupied trying to get out like frustrations or whatever, and I was like, oh, like exercise, and he said they were he was doing the do with Aqua. Okay, so I'm gonna say, and is this a common occurrence? Interested in my bedroom activities already, investigator. He lifts an eyebrow but answers my question before I can find the proper response. Common? No. He's easy on the eye and has a rife tongue that shouldn't go unchecked. His demigod jurisdictions over water and love make him welcoming in more ways than one. He shrugs casually as if we're talking about the weather while I'm struggling to keep my wits about me. The images were becoming vivid, and his dip in tone and subsequent smirk were not helping. The usual culprit to blame for our wild romps is stress. I want to scoff at the idea that anyone in position of power actually does any work instead of delegating it to some poor subordinate, but resist the urge. And what exactly does your job involve? Feel free to stop by my office in the Enclave of the Gods and find out. I can let you take a look at all the organizational documents for this year's Dread Festival, if that would help you. His warm grin twists my stomach with something very different to my earlier fear. That would be great, thank you. There's nothing to thank me about. We're on the same side. Who do you think was responsible for the incident? Or why were you late on the morning of the incident? I don't know what color Death's blush is. Who do you think is responsible for the incident? Latera's eyes narrow at my question, his lips pursing into a scowl. Whoever they are, they couldn't have escaped far. Have put Omnis into lockdown. No one can leave or enter. That wasn't my question. His eyes, like molten gold, slid to me, and for a split second I can imagine what it was like to be this man's enemy. To stand against a man who could move a mountain, literally. Someone or something that wishes to weaken us, to drive fear into the hearts of our people. And when I find them, I will tear them to pieces with my bare hands and let them rot on the altar of celebration until the crows have picked the meat clean from the remains and the... Oh, Jesus. It takes me a moment to close my mouth and remember to write this down. Silence stretches out between us, the only sound of ink on paper before I look up the demigod before another question in my mind. Can a lockdown hold a child of evil? That's a question. The goddess of chaos, Varvarai, has already proven her domain through escaping her seal. The way we can balance chaos is through order. I do the best. You think that you'd stave off her corruption by simply making your people follow your demands? Curfew, increased security, tracking spells. If there's anyone who can catch a source of havoc and neutralize it, then that will be me. Cocky. I simply have faith in myself. He picks a puff of who knows what off his bracers, examining it uncriminiously before flicking it into a small empty bin beside my door. Is that draconic leather? A gift from your Mercutio after I ripped the Ignis's arm off a few years ago. The wound lessened the burden on your northern borders significantly, or so I've been told. Mercutio, the Aegis of the Ares Empire, the strongest male dragon. He ruled his territory of eastern Dragonfang with an iron fist. His name usually inspires fear and awe within me. I didn't recognize those feelings stirring now. The Terra's easygoing first-name basis approach had shocked me into stupor. Why were you late on the morning of the incident? Some elven business came up. Right before the beginning of the festival? When you live as long as I do, investigator, you come to realize that there's two kinds of business. There's the business you can put off and business you can't. Usually if you don't handle the first, it becomes the second. I try not to make that mistake. That's very organized of you. I find myself smiling at his explanation. The compliment comes out accidentally, and it earns me a bright grin. Thank you. His tone softens slightly, a low, warm rumble compared to his usual demanding voice. I almost find it difficult to focus on the work at hand. Um, can you tell me any more about the elven business that made you late? Or should I do that one, or should I do the does the Dread Festival use the same agenda every year? Ooh, Harvey, I love that answer. I'm thinking... I don't know. I'm kind of stuck between the two answers. Second or third? Yeah, that's the issue. I'm between those two. We could see if the Dread Festival uses the same agenda every year, because by doing that... Oh, do the second one? Okay, then I'll do the second one. While the smile on the Earth aspect's face doesn't shift, his tail bristles. I've seen enough small cats to know what that means. No. Alarm bells go off in my head at the sudden shift in aura. The word rings between us in a cool, steely tone. I've hit a wall with this line of questioning. Or perhaps I realize that it's simply best that I don't push it for now. Alright, my apologies. Better move on to another question quickly. A knock sounds on the door, breaking us away from our session. The Terra's eyes move from the door to me, his lips purse as he steps away from it. For a man so famous for his control, he sure had no problem giving it away. I'd half expect him to answer before I'd blinked. Come in. The door creaks open and I find myself looking at a handsome, lithe, silver-haired elf who offers the Terra a low bow. Alora? You are needed in the square to help set up the fire dancing festival of Natura. Of course, I'll be right there. Though I am annoyed by the interruption, I nod my head when Terra's gaze returns to me. I'll see you at the fire dancing then, investigator. Do you have appropriate clothes for the event? I find myself caught off guard by the question. I'll have some sent to your room before tonight then. Are you always buying strangers whole new wardrobes? Usually only those that ask nicely. His grin stirs me in something fierce. Natura! I'm coming, Alora. He's out of the door before I can poke at his words, leaving my brain scrambled with information and my stomach with warmth. Who do I investigate? I'm gonna go Aqua, because him and Terra were together. I wasn't sure if it was because Mors Mortis had called everyone present a suspect, but I found myself diligently studying Aqua as he sat on a chair in front of my work desk. A very ornate chair that hadn't been there until right before I asked for the aspect of water to stop by for questioning. It was carved of some expensive wood, packed with comfortable cushions, and sparkled with pearls of various colors and sizes. A perfect seat for the man who lounged on top of it, as if he was a king of the world. Legs crossed, chin propped up on one hand, he offered me a lazy smile that made something in my chest twist. He was perhaps the most beautiful man I've ever seen. It was annoying to no end. Just someone a painter, he seems so fond of staring. My cheeks flushed and I cleared my throat. Glancing down at my journal, I found it logical. I started off by asking the following questions. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? Not really. I was too busy sleeping off a hangover after a long night of enjoying the revelry I helped your embassy throw. His voice dipped into a softer, more melodic tone. It truly was a shame that you couldn't stay. Hmm. How long into the night did the revelry continue? I don't know. I didn't stay for the whole thing. And why not? I found a better use of my time. His tone dipped into something softer, and his eyes attained the pure raw heat that could only mean one thing. I nodded, my cheeks no doubt as bright as his eyebrows. His eyeshadow, not eyebrows. I can't read. Why were you late on the morning of the incident? I can't believe I said eyebrows. I mean, his eyebrows are white, so... Aqua scoffed at my question. I am late only if you go by the words of Mors Mortis. If anyone else had organized the Dread Festival this year, they wouldn't have said a word. Others can organize the festival? Of course, it is a rotating duty between all aspects. It just so happened that this year the pleasure fell on Mors Mortis' shoulder. You didn't answer my previous question. The aspect of water looked up at me through thick lashes. At the gathering, I found rather pleasant company that detained me until morning. Oh. Can't that company corroborate your story? Of course. For one reason or another, I respect his choice to keep that card close to his chest. I'll ask for it later if necessary. Who do you think is responsible for the incident? Aqua raises an eyebrow at my question. If I was thrown into the deep end, I wouldn't go about attracting the attention of the sharks. Are you threatening me? He laughed as though I'd asked something terribly amusing, his different-colored eyes glittering like sea glass. You Aresians are always looking for a reason for an argument or a fight. Do you know a lot of Aresians? A few. And that's enough to draw up such conclusions. Perhaps.
Nice to meet you.
I do my
Dave.
best not to roll my eyes. Let me rephrase. Do you know of anyone who might benefit from freeing a dangerous goddess from her 2,000-year slumber? Excluding our enemies? I grit my teeth at his nonchalant yawn. I haven't sensed any dangerous emotions from anyone if that's what you're asking me. I find myself uncertain of what to put down on the
Let's
paper in
play.
front of me.
I'm ready.
I'm sorry, you can sense emotions? My fellow Naturas call it empathy. Partially comes with the charity of holding the elven throne in the city of Amor. So you get powers from ruling a city in return for what? Spreading peace, harmony, and love, of course. Maybe you'd let me help you explore that too at
pets,
some point.
please.
Clearly you need it more than anyone else around the festival. I roll my eyes as my cheeks flush at his blatant proposition. That was all very helpful, thank you. Did you find that I appreciate the attempt at lengthening our time together, investigator? I am a busy man. I find myself gaping at him. I wasn't... The grin he gives me as he makes to get up is downright infuriating. I should have a free time slot for you after 5 hours if you wish to continue your disquisition. You can't just... But he can, and he proves that point by making his way out of the door to my small room before I can finish my sentence. And I have the infuriating need to throw my journal at the door. As I'm looking down at my notes from the first 2 sessions, churning the new information in my brain, the door to my room swings open with such violence that I reach for the dagger underneath the desk. For a second, the shadows grow deeper, darker, and I wonder if they've moved on their own before the general marches into my room unannounced. Geez, my desk is digging into my arm. Yeah, bright-ass eyebrows. What did you guys send in the Discord? Oh my gosh. I swear. Crybaby. With 4 quick strides of his long legs, he reaches my desk, his tall form blocking out the rays of sun from the nearby window like a storm cloud. A thick stack of papers is deposited uncrimoniously onto my desk, and it takes everything within me not to wince as I notice the smudges of various shades of red and brown along with the inky scrawl upon them. I put the dagger back in the desk sheath and make up to get up and bow, but he raises a hand to stop me. I will not stay. I have taken upon the task of personally questioning everyone from our delegation who prayed in front of the wax this morning. I feel the blood drain from my face as my eyes flit between him and the stack of papers before me. I clear my throat to help find my voice. And did you find anything of note? His eyes narrowed with unfiltered annoyance. No. He turns around, heading for the door just as abruptly as he'd enter, though through it, each step increasing, the anxiety settling on my shoulder. I'm gonna say question him. I gotta question everyone. Shadow Master, with all due respect, I would also like to ask you a few questions. My breathing halts the moment his footsteps do. I remind myself to count to 10, to move, to show signs of life as he levels me with one of his famous glares and the shadows in the room darken. Consider these 10 minutes of my time charity for a lost cause. My breathing resumes with a huff, and I'm quickly reminded of my dislike for the disrespect of the ruling general of Ares. Annoyance washes over my fear, steadying me as I flip open a new page from my journal. You've been to the Dread Festival before. Did you notice anything different in its setup this time around? The elves knew Aqua through the welcoming party yesterday night. He reeks of trouble. I raised my eyebrow at the observation as I scribbled the pointless answer down. Perhaps the Shadow Master used salty wine and trouble interchangeably. It wouldn't be surprised, considering the stick up his ass. Could you elaborate? He's cocky and impulsive, an attention-seeker with zero regard of the consequences for his actions. Could it be that he was still bothered by the way that Aqua flirted with him in front of everyone? I pushed the thought down, ignoring the urge to smirk. The current Aqua has been present and active for the 2 previous Dread Festivals as well, but no incidents occurred then. I point out, my tone professional, controlled, and earning me a scowl from the man before me. The Shadow Master opens his mouth and seems to think better of what he wants to say and closes it, glancing pointedly at the clock on my desk instead. I do my best to ignore the way this annoys me. Who do you think is responsible for the incident? The seals placed upon the children of evil are of ancient complicated magic. This rules all mortal simpletons from our delegation out of the list of culprits at the very least. I pursed my lips, ignoring the stab this asshole just lightheartedly made at my intelligence as he keeps talking. Whether it is a conscious betrayal or a hand guided by the anger of a god, those who would know to unseal a tomb bound by a millennium-old spell could likely be counted on the fingers of one hand. My hand freezes mid-air. The unspoken words linger between us for a few moments before I finally press my quill to the pages of the journal again, seemingly snapping the general from his continued unspoken thoughts. His gaze flits to me, and then to the space around me before he crosses his arms over his chest. His lips set into a firm line as if he knows that I'll ask him before I even open my mouth. You intend to question the gods? Laterra and his high priests and priestesses can communicate with the original gods in bits and pieces. They know their intentions, their views, see the shifts of the divine web before any mortal can. You think Laterra knew this could happen? He scoffs, one foot tapping impatiently against the wooden floor. If he is as powerful as he says he is, then he should be aware of most fates woven by the fingers of the gods. This is getting really, interesting, guys. You're gay. I am. What do you think was the aim of this, of whoever is responsible for the incident? This winter bore the greatest losses ever seen by this long-enduring alliance. Some would blame the elven leadership for the grave numbers. Others might blame us. You think someone is trying to stage a power coup? The Shadow Master shrugs, and the action is human enough that I find myself staring. Whoever they are, only the gods can save them now, and they better pray long and hard because their chance of survival after that sorry stunt is 0. His eyes glitter like sharp ruby gems, and I recognize those words to not a belief, but a promise. The complex web of information only seems to grow thicker and more convoluted. I hate to admit it, but the General has given me a lot to think about in the last minutes. My brain is running 1,000,000 miles per hour as I flip between the pages of information, picking through the bits and pieces I find important. Whatever question I want to ask next, however, doesn't see the page as I hear his boots begin moving toward the door. I'm going to thank him. I glance up from my papers as he pulls the door open. Thank you for your time, General. His gaze flickers in my direction briefly as he pauses in the entryway. Do make an effort not to get yourself killed, investigator. Not everyone loves obnoxious buttons meddling around their business. Oh, is the stream okay? Okay, sheep's okay. If I wasn't in an embassy building, I would scream. I left for a second. What's happening? A lot has happened. What a fucking ass. Scylla, Pier, and Lovok give me strength. Who do I investigate? Moors. So, like, a big thing happened. A chaos goddess was released from her coffin, and now I'm the main person who has to investigate and figure out who's the person who backstabbed and released this chaos goddess. So now I'm interviewing everyone. And last person is Moors. My head feels like it's swimming as I attempt to piece everything together. Nothing makes sense. There's still too much information I lack and too little time I have to figure this out. I feel restless, the squeezing of my stomach from nerves doubled by the rapidly growing hunger for something more serious than a cup of tea. It forces me out of my chair into my door. With the amount of stress I'm under, if I don't eat anything, I might fall sick, and then I'd have really doomed us all. A light meal would have to suffice. Pulling the door open, I find myself staring back at two pairs of surprised green eyes. The aspect of death, one dark hand pulled into a fist, seemed to have just been about to knock. Instead, he clears his throat and hides his hand back under his long cloak. I've come at a bad time. He steps back, serene, entirely different from the previous burning display of anger at the city square.
Z.
It's all right, Natura. I was about to step out for lunch. I see. Then I won't keep you with my presence. That won't work for me. I desperately need answers. It's fine. Let's talk in my office. I have questions. I have to question you anyways. Or... I'm gonna say that I have to question him. Four green eyes blink at me and then scan me from top to bottom. You're hungry. Such a feeling should not be ignored. It's fine, this shouldn't take too long. Whatever meaning he finds in my words seems to satisfy him as he gives me a curt nod and follows me into my office. He makes no effort for small talk while I move to take my place back behind my desk. Somehow, the police silence doesn't rush me. Instead, it lets me sort through my thoughts. Do you prefer having me seated or standing? The question puzzled me, and I catch Mors Mortis once again scanning my face, searching for who knows what as I shrug. I do not mind either way, Natura. We are in your city. And in your embassy, investigator. Do not forget that. I blink as he takes a seat in front of me and removes his hood. Ask away. So I do just that. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? Hours is a very broad amount of time. But yes, many things caught my attention. For one, my invisibility cloak has disappeared. The joke is on my tongue, but I resist interrupting, stamping it down like any other intrusive thought. I couldn't complete my afternoon patrol yesterday because I was saving a soul in distress from sudden rain. I can feel his eyes linger pointedly on me as I write that down. And the dead, their immortal souls were restless. His ears twitch and he glances quickly through the room. Even still, their bones seek to leave their graves, even if their flesh has been cleaved and turned to wax. How can you tell? I can see them, hear them, feel them, talk to them. His gaze shifts briefly to something above my shoulder, and I follow his gaze but spot nothing. A shudder rolls down me. Could there be... The aspect of death sighs before his eyes turn to the notes before me. I believe my appetite has completely disappeared. I must, however, persevere. I did look at the art. Can the dead interfere with the ritual? Yes and no. Souls have no magic of their own, so while they can wail and bemoan anything, they technically can't interfere with anything physical. Tomb dwellers, on the other hand, bones raised to mindless death from magical anomalies and incorrect spellcasting can always do harm. How so? They're made of magic and death, and they go around spreading magic and death until they run out and crumble to dust. They're dangerous because they lack any cognizance. But they are terribly rare. We scarcely see more than 1 or 2 a season. You sound certain that the dead aren't responsible for the escape of the scion of chaos. They have no motive. It is as simple as that. He sounds convinced. I look up from my notebook to face him with my next question and find the pair of eyes on his cheekbones focused on me, though the rest of him appears to be looking away. They crinkle around the edges, almost imperceptibly, before directing their interest elsewhere. Was the ritual tampered with? Yes. How? Mors Mortis's eyes fall on the scattered papers on my desk. There were runic configurations on the inside of the cauldron. I blink in surprise. Runes are ancient symbols imbued with magic, most commonly used for spellcasting. But runic is a dead language. Is anything truly dead if memory of it still lingers? The aspect of death reaches out and runs the palm of his hand over a burning candle flame on my desk. He shows no sign of pain as the fire licks away at the surface of his hand for 5, 10, 20 seconds. He inspects it with a full curiosity, and I find myself mesmerized as the green artwork on the back of his hand comes to life. Another eye blinks back to me, its painted edges crinkling with familiarity, as if it belonged unto a smiling face. When I look back at Mors Mortis, I notice his ears have sharpened, and his bustling tail has frozen in place, as he is listening for something I can't hear. The eyes on his cheekbones have shifted their attention elsewhere. Yay, no more ads! His features soften after a split second, and he turns his full focus back to me, pulling his hand away from the candle. I'm going to ask, do you not feel pain? His eyes flicker to the candle in front of me before returning to match my curious gaze. If I pretend to be mortal, will that make you feel more at ease around me? His question makes me realize my current painful posture. Shoulders pulled up, body stiff, brows drawn, my hand gripping my quill too tight. I roll my shoulders back and exhale before meeting his eyes. No. He nods, as though he'd received this response hundreds of times before. Do you truly believe the culprit is from our delegation? An uncomfortable pause stretches between us as I swallow and watch him frown. The opening ritual of wax has been performed for almost 2 millennia, and there has never been an issue. He sounds almost resigned as he answers. It seems that when it comes down to this investigation, he's a closed book. The only differential factors everywhere are the guests, then. He nods, and I find myself begrudgingly agreeing with his logic, but there is a flaw within it. If the guests of a year are different, there shouldn't be anyone from our delegation who knows where to find all the tools needed in 12 hours to tamper with your ritual. My words earn me a quiet nod, but there is something uncertain about it that spurns me on. His eyes attain a sparkle that speaks to me. I'm missing something, but what? The truth hits me so suddenly that I want to vomit, an accusation that, if made within the walls of the Ares Empire, could end with my death at the very least. I find my hands shaking as I try to figure out a way to put thoughts to ink without securing my own legally sanctioned murder. The generals are recurring guests. The Shadow Master had attended the Dread Festival many times before, and his speed and agility were legendary, the source of increased battlefield morale of many Arisian armies. Your intelligence will serve you well in this investigation, but your unease gives away your thoughts. I look up at him, his mouth twisted in a frown. Words are a bit difficult now, my fingers still frozen from thoughts inspired by unspoken truths. Who do you think is responsible for the incident? The aspect of death's expression turns unreadable. His eyes flicker away. A shadow falls across his face, and I know that he's thought on this already. For some reason, however, he refuses to share. His silence lasts long enough that I'm inclined to write down refuses to respond in my journal. I play with the feather of my quill as I consider how to follow up on the lack of reply. Do the spirits know who is behind the freed goddess? They are restless. They speculate, just like us. Ow, that was my shoulder. The voices have been so many that it is not only difficult to tune them out, but also impossible to make out anything any of them are saying unless I implicitly concentrate. I need more time to speak with the city's roaming spirits, but when I have an answer, I will let you know. I should leave you to the pleasures within the plates. I barely had a moment to blink as the aspect of death rose and put his hood back up, his form towering over me. His cloak carried behind him a scent of fallen autumn leaves and burning candles. He hadn't had a bite or a sip as he made his way to the door. His eyes flickered once again to me, and then behind me. Something of a smile crossed his lips. Remember, be a squirrel, not a lamb. The less meat on the bones, the less satisfying the prey. Oh, that's the end! God dang it! Oh, you heard the pop? My bad. Ah! Well, that was the demo. I'm in love with this game. So, I am in love with this game. I can't wait. I cannot wait for the full version. As soon as the full version's out, I'm playing it again, and we're gonna romance. I'm gonna romance Moors. I love him. But thank you guys so much for joining this live stream. I really appreciate all of you being here and joining it. Sorry that I had to turn down the music a couple times and mess with it and stuff like that. I plan on posting this on YouTube, so hopefully the music's decent and okay. But yeah, I'm very happy with this game. I'm really happy with the demo. I'm so happy I chose Morris to do fan art of. And yeah, I will let you guys know when I post this on YouTube if you guys want to take a look at it again. And I'll be streaming again on Tuesday. So, thank you guys so much for being part of the stream. Good night!